So, how to travel the world for free? It sounds like a scam, right? Well, it's not actually. I'm not suggesting that you're like a full time content creator or that you volunteer to save the whales or something. And no, don't worry, I'm not gonna try to sell you anything. God, I wish I had something to sell. But no, it's not that kind of video, so you're safe with me. If you wanna travel the world for free, your best bet would be to work on a cruise ship. Yes, to work on a cruise ship. So before you switch to another video because you're not interested in working on a cruise ship, let me tell you why you should if you want to travel the world for free. Well, first of all, because I can't think of many other ways in which you could travel the world for free, to be honest. Second of all, it's not just free, but it's safe. It's a very safe way to travel the world. And number three, it's also a very comfortable way to traveling the world. Of course, comfort is not always what you want. You know, I love solo traveling as well, staying in hostels, doing my own thing and all that. But sometimes, and especially if you want to do it like long term, you want a little bit of comfort as well. So if you work on a cruise ship, you'll always have your cabin. And depending on your position, you might be entitled to a solo cabin, or in some other positions, you would have to share your cabin with one more person. But you'll always have your bed and you sleep in your own bed every night. You don't have to worry about cooking or cleaning. That's all done for you. And not only it is free, but you get paid as well. Not many people can say they make money whilst traveling the world. And the money that you make, well, you're not going to spend it on many things because, as I said, food and accommodation, that's all paid for. So you'd only spend money when you get off the ship and maybe you go for lunch. So your expenditure is just, as much as you want it to be. Also, I don't know if this applies to all countries, but at least in the UK, if you make your money at sea, that's like completely tax-free. That means that you don't pay any tax on the money that you make at sea. Another advantage of working on a cruise ship, if you like traveling, is that you'll end up going to places where you never thought you'll go. Because of course you don't make the itineraries, they make them for you. So if you think Norway, okay, I'm gonna go to Oslo. Yeah, but you know what? That's not going to be the nicest place in Norway. If you go on a cruise to Norway, they're going to take you to Tromsø and Alta and Skjolden and so many places that you didn't even know they existed. Now, I'm not going to lie. Your experience working on a cruise ship depends very much on what kind of job you do on the cruise ship. So if you work on the housekeeping department, for example, they work really, really hard and they don't have much time to get off during the day. The same applies to many other jobs like the bars or the restaurants. But even if you have one of these jobs, I'm sure you'll find time to get off the ship and explore the ports. Now, if you do other jobs, like for example, the shops, right? So I don't know if you've ever been on a cruise ship, but if you have, you'll know that cruise ships have shops. And bigger cruise ships have many shops, right? It's like a little mall. So the thing is that the shops are not allowed to open when the ship is at port. They can only operate when the ship is at sea, for tax reasons, of course. That means that every time the ship is at port, you'll have the whole day to yourself, and you can get off and explore the ports. The same principle applies to the casino. The casino is only allowed to operate when the ship is sailing. If you work for the entertainment department, which is my department, I'm a musician, you'll also have a lot of free time, perhaps a lot more than the shop is actually. So for example, me as a musician, I only play 2 or 3, or actually it's more like 3 to 4 45-minute sets every day. And I get days off as well. But of course, that depends on the company. Not many people get days off on cruise ships. That's actually one of the downsides. But for example, me, I play 3 to 4 sets every day in the evening. That means that I get the whole day to myself, so I can go out and explore the ports and travel the world for free. The same applies to other areas of the entertainment department, like if you work in the showcast, like if you're a singer or dancer, or if you're an entertainment host, that means you do all the quizzes and activities. They work, well, perhaps a little bit more than the musicians, but still they have plenty of time to go out and explore the ports. Also, how much money you make and your privileges on the ship depend a lot on your position. So on some of the positions, you'll be entitled to a single cabin and also like officer privileges, like you can go into guest areas for lunch or dinner. You can go into guest areas like pretty much all the time for drinks. And it's much nicer. Some other jobs, well, you can only stay in the crew areas unless you're working, so the food is not going to be as nice and the bars are not going to be as nice, but I think it's still an enjoyable experience because you'll get to travel the world for free anyways. Now, if working on a cruise ship is something that you would be interested in, first I would encourage you to consider what kind of job would you like to do on board. And I made a video for you, so I'm going to link it right here, where I list all of the jobs that you can potentially do on a cruise ship. So if you're a very creative person, or maybe you're an extrovert, I would consider the entertainment department. But if you like traveling and you don't have any specific skills, like for example being a musician, I would suggest you work on the shops, because as I said, you would only be working when the ship is sailing, so you would have a lot of time to yourself every time the ship is in port. As to where cruise ships go, well, pretty much everywhere. Like the most popular destinations are of course the Caribbean, which is a beautiful place. I spent 3 months there on my first contract. So you would be most likely going to islands like Barbados or St. Lucia, St. Vincent and St. Martin. And all over Europe, like the Mediterranean is very popular, also Norway. Cruise ships also tend to go to Australia a lot and Asia. Pretty much anywhere. So if you like the idea of traveling the world, but you don't have any money, or perhaps, you don't feel safe doing it, I would encourage you to work on a cruise ship and travel the world for free. There are, however, some downsides. Like for example, well, you don't choose where you go. You can potentially choose or request a ship because of the itinerary, but that doesn't mean that you're going to get it. But that can also be a good thing, because you'll end up going to places where you didn't think you'll be going. So it could be a nice surprise. Another downside is that you can't really do your own thing. Like, you have to work. First of all, you're working, but you still have plenty of free time. It's not quite like solo traveling, but you still have a lot of free time, so you can enjoy the ports. So of course there are pros and cons, but overall, if you don't have the money for it or you don't feel safe, you should definitely do it. And to be honest, I don't know why people don't talk about it as much on the internet, because it's such a cool thing to do, especially if you're young. You'll make so many friends on board as well. Think about it, it's a ship with lots of people and living in close proximity. So of course you'll make friends, you'll make some enemies as well. You're gonna date people, you're gonna have fun, so why not doing it? Anyways, thank you so much for watching until the end. If you like this video, please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I have many videos about traveling the world and working on cruise ships. So if that's something you're interested in, you're definitely going to find them useful. You can follow me on Instagram or Facebook as well. And there is also a PayPal link for donations. Of course, every donation will be absolutely appreciated. Thank you so much for watching until the end. See you next time. Bye.